You can increase your productivity by 5 or 10 times overnight by putting the 3 methods into action that I'm going to give you in my free course. So go download it right now by clicking the link just below here. Hey, what is true forgiveness? We all know that forgiveness is the key to having a sense of peace inside, right? If you're really hateful around a lot of different things in your life, it's going to be a tough job to really feel peaceful because you're angry all the time and resentful of so many things. So what is real forgiveness? Because in personal development, we don't define that at all. So let's talk about it. My name is Claus Levin, and if you want original insights on personal development and success, please click the bell icon and, let me just change the light here, and subscribe to this channel. So, what we're talking about forgiveness is really seeing that no one did anything. And I know that's a challenge, but just imagine yourself in a world of robots. Everyone is an artificial intelligent robot, right? And you're the only human being on the planet. And everyone else is just automatic. They respond like they do, right? You say, well, how's the weather today? It's great, they say. It's the perfect emulation of a human being. And you're just assuming that everyone has a personality. Everyone knows they exist, but they don't. They have as much soul or ego as a washing machine. That's the reality. Just imagine that. Imagine the reality walking around. Everybody, there's nobody there. You're the only one there. You're the only human being. You're the only one aware of its existence. How do you know that that is not the reality you're walking around in? How do you know that? Well, Klaus, because there's no argumentation there. We can't go there because there's no proof. You might be the only human being aware of its own existence in the universe, on planet Earth, right? But what we do when we hate, when we can't forgive, when we resent somebody, is that first we imagine a human being, an entity, an aware entity like ourselves that has free choice, that could have done something else than what they did. But they chose not to. So I come to you and I do something that you don't like. And you have this idea that I could have done something else, but I didn't choose to. I chose to do the evil thing. And here's my question to you. Have you ever done something where you would have liked to do something else in the situation, but you didn't? And see, here's the really tough thing, that even though you can imagine that you did something else, you can imagine an alternate reality where you didn't do the thing that made your mom upset, that you didn't want to do, but you did it anyway because that's just what you did in the moment. That's the decision you made, right? And you can imagine a different reality where you didn't do it. And then here comes the split. You have this abstraction of an alternate reality, and then you have reality. And because you can have an abstract reality, then you can put yourself in this place and say, oh, I wish I'd done this. Why didn't I do that? Oh, I'm a bad person. No, you're not a bad person. You're this person. And forgiving yourself means, listen up now, forgiving yourself for doing what you did means that you have to realize on the most fundamental, deepest level that you couldn't have acted in any other way. In that specific moment. You can always have an idea and a story that I could have done this, and yeah, now you could. If you put yourself in the same situation right now and you go into it, right, if you could do that, then you would make another decision, of course, but you couldn't when you did it. If you could, then you would have done it. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? Please, you have to ponder and think about this deeply. Because that's forgiveness. Is knowing that we always do the best we can with what we have in any given moment. Yes, also Hitler. Oh, that's not your turn. See, if we have to learn to forgive, we have to realize that everyone is doing their best, even though it doesn't look that way. It is the abstraction, the illusion that we could have done something else that makes you feel resentful, that makes you not being able to give up. And you can say all day, personal development style, I forgive my father, I forgive my father, I forgive her, I forgive him, I forgive them. You can say that like a mantra all day, incessantly. It's not going to help you very much. But realizing that everybody does, just look at yourself and really what things in your life are you not satisfied that you did? And instead of creating the abstraction and the idea that you could have acted in any other way, even though you did act in that way. Why did you act in that way? Because that was the only right choice for you in that moment, with the emotions, with the whole circumstances. That was the only thing that could happen. No, I could have done something else. Okay, so here's my last point to make this clear for you and really try to think about this, because forgiveness is such a cool thing, not for other people, but for yourself, primarily, right? No human being can act against their own interest. Please, no human being can act against their own interest. Perceived interest. And then you might say, hey Klaus, look at me, I'm hitting myself on the head with a hammer. Look, it hurts and I'm getting bruised and all. See, I'm acting against my own interest. Well, apparently yes, but in reality, you think it's much more pleasurable to prove me wrong than the pain you're inflicting on yourself. That's it. So now you're acting in your own interest. But people kill themselves. That's not in anybody's interest. Well, in that moment, standing on the ledge, about to jump, death seems more pleasurable than staying alive. Right? It's always the best alternative. It's the best option that we're acting on with the emotional state we're in, where we are, with the knowledge we have, everything combined, right? That doesn't mean that people don't have responsibility, right? That's another discussion. So you're responsible for, if we drop that, then everybody can just go around and say, I'm not responsible for anything. There's no free will. I can only do one thing every second compared to the emotions of the, right? So I don't, But reality isn't simple. We can't just say one thing and then that's the truth. This is a paradox. So on one side, we have to have the discussion of responsibility. We have to take responsibility in order to have an effective reality in life. On the other hand, it's also true that in every single moment, you couldn't have acted any other way than you actually did. You can always have an abstract thought that you could, and you can entertain yourself with the distance between the two and hate yourself for it, or you can forgive yourself like you would forgive a little child. We often have this idea as well as, when do people have responsibility? And we say, okay, if he's a 6-year-old child and he does something very bad, it's not his responsibility. He just doesn't know any better, right? Okay, if he's 7, he's da-da-da-da-da. Or if he's 10, hey, he should shape up. Or if he's 16, he has responsibility and he just shouldn't. When do you pull the line? Or if he's 18, then he can vote. And okay, then now we have the illusion suddenly that grown-up child is suddenly responsible in some way for everything he does. And yes, that is true. But it's not more true than the 6-year-old child who's also acting on the information he has and the emotional state he's in. It's the same thing. This is not simple. It's not. Don't think it is. It's a too paradoxical thing. But forgiveness lies in the realization that everybody is doing their best, even though it doesn't look that way. As you are. Self-love and self-acceptance comes from that as well. It's to stop the judgment that you could have done something. It's an illusion. I so hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe.